everyone, my name is Fred and today is another Top 5 Wednesday day. This series was originally created by Lainey over at Ginger Reads Lainey, so I'll be sure to leave a link to her channel as well as to the Goodreads group in the description box down below. Now the theme for this week is the top 5 books that made you think. So in no particular order, here are the books that I've chosen. My first book is Inferno by Dan Brown. Now, if you haven't read Inferno and don't want to be spoiled, I would recommend muting the audio for the duration that I'm holding up this book, only because I want to explain why it made me think, but I don't want to accidentally spoil you in the process. And so I recommend hitting that mute button right now, okay? Alright. So for those of you who have read Inferno or who aren't afraid of getting spoiled, we know it sort of tackles the topic of the overpopulation of the world. And the villain of sorts, I guess you can call him, I forget his name, he creates this plague that wouldn't, wipe out the population, but that would have a bit more of a long-term effect. The plague that he creates would affect about a third of the population, depending on genetics and such. It would render them infertile and sterile. And so I definitely thought that this was an interesting take on the topic, and it really did have me thinking, and as always I love Dan Brown's writing, so this one definitely had the wheels in the brain turning. Next is Beatrice and Virgil by Yann Martel. Now I always have so much trouble describing what this book is about, aside from the fact that it's just amazing and everyone should read it. It sort of follows the story of this writer who's trying to write a novel about the Holocaust, but by throwing his imagination in and giving it more of a fictional representative. He then starts communicating with this taxidermist who's also writing a play about two animals, Beatrice the donkey and Virgil the monkey. And so this book had me thinking because in itself the novel is sort of an allegoric tale about representations about the Holocaust. And so I just thought that the writing was absolutely impeccable in this book, and all the little links and symbols to the Holocaust really had me thinking. And so, yeah, this is definitely beautifully written, and I do recommend it to everyone out there because it's a surprise. It's a surprise, that's what it is. Then I have Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Now, I studied this in high school, and so obviously lots of thinking was required. But I find, not only limited to this, but to all dystopian novels in general, I find that they really do get you thinking. It's interesting to see, how this society came to become what it is. And one thing that I find frightening with dystopian novels too is when you can make parallels between, this society and the society that we currently live in. Because it's scary to think that, with these similarities, maybe we might, evolve into some sort of version, of this society. And so this book definitely had me thinking. I'm not the biggest fan of dystopians, but I do like to read them because, they do get the brain working as well, like I said for Inferno. Now the next two books that I've chosen also had me thinking, but definitely more on a lighter note, nothing too deep, which I think is fun as well. You have some books that are very thought-provoking, you have other books that are light and entertaining, and you have some books that do both. I have to say The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson also had me thinking, but this was more in the sense that I was trying to guess who the assassin was and who the prince was. And so there's a thought process that goes into it, but obviously it's nothing, very serious and deep, but it's still very entertaining, and so I thought I would include it in this list just the same. And lastly, I have The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. Although any one of Agatha Christie's mystery novels could fit into this category, and so this book had me thinking, but in the sense that I was trying, to solve the mystery and to discover who the murderer was. I find that all of Agatha Christie's mysteries are very entertaining, in particular her Hercule Poirot mysteries, but I do have to admit that I am terrible at solving the crimes. And so that was it for my top 5 books that made me think. Do leave a link to your video in the comments below, or feel free to answer what your top 5 books would be. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you with another video soon. Bye!